Hi, welcome to Take 5 and thanks for joining me. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson went on a camping trip. After a good meal and a bottle of wine, they lay down for the night and went to sleep. Some hours later, Holmes awoke and he nudged his faithful friend and he asked him, "Watson, look up at the sky and tell me what you see." Watson replied, "I see millions and millions of stars." "What does that tell you?" asked Holmes. Watson pondered for a minute and he went all scholarly. "Astronomically, it tells me that there are millions of galaxies and potentially billions of planets. Astrologically, I observe that Saturn is in Leo. Orologically, I deduce that the time is approximately 3:15. Theologically, I can see that God is all-powerful and that we are small and insignificant. Meteorologically, I suspect that we will have a beautiful day tomorrow." "Why? What does it tell you?" Holmes was silent for a minute and then he spoke. "Watson, you imbecile, some bastard has stolen our tent." You know, sometimes we go all scholarly when we don't need to. And as we live a life where we run to and fro in a fast world, we sometimes don't have the time to ponder and even ask the big questions of life. I'm sure you have heard people say that faith is blind, where one doesn't need to give reasons for God's existence. Initially in my journey, I thought belief was something you simply either had or you didn't have. So as the questions keep coming, I wish for us to consider another aspect in this discussion. This one, we'll title it, Look Downwards. Let's look down in history. One good movie that I can recommend to you to watch is one that is called The Case for Christ. Hold on a minute, hey? Spoiler alert, I've got to share this with you, but I won't tell it all, so you can relax. So the movie tells the story of one Lee Strobel, once an atheist investigative journalist for the Chicago Tribune. And his daughter one day had a shocking accident when they went out for dinner, and a Christian nurse named Alfie saved her life and credited the event to God's will. Lee Strobel realized in time that his wife and Alfie had become friends, and his wife started attending church together with her. When he mops up to work discouraged, his mentor encourages him that since he's an investigative journalist, why not investigate and prove that the resurrection of Jesus Christ did not actually happen? So, investigative journalist style, he goes into his basement, puts up on his board the purported picture of Jesus Christ. That's a story for another day. And he starts investigating, bringing data each day and piecing the story together. So, to cut the long story short, Lee concludes with 4 reasons that corroborate the Jesus story. The first is execution. Jesus died by crucifixion by Roman soldiers. The evidence for Jesus' execution is so extensive that even the atheist New Testament scholar Gerd Ludman calls it indisputable. No wonder the peer-reviewed Journal of the American Medical Association concluded and said, "Clearly, the weight of the historical and medical evidence indicates that Jesus was dead before the wound to his side was inflicted." The second reason, let's call it empty tomb. The tomb was empty. Otherwise, opponents of the resurrection would have shown the body. The tomb was also made secure, remember? Unless we are doubting the Roman soldiers and the integrity of the then Roman leadership, of which we know it was tight. Look at Matthew 27, eh? The third is eyewitnesses. The disciples sincerely believed Jesus rose from the dead and appeared to them. Yet we have a report of the resurrection preserved in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 37. That comes far too quickly after Jesus' death to be considered a legend. In fact, scholar James Dunn said, "We can be entirely confident that this report was formulated within months of Jesus' death." And that's not the only early report we have. So you can even ask, could they have been hallucinating or experiencing grief-generated visions of their leader? No ways. Psychologists say hallucinations are like dreams. They happen in individual minds. Our earliest report of the resurrection says 500 people saw him at the same time. That would be a bigger miracle than the resurrection itself, one expert said. The church persecutor, Paul, from Saul, converted to Christianity. When you read Acts chapter 9, even Galatians chapter 1 verse 1. The last one, the early church. The early church believed that Jesus rose from the dead. The resurrection was foundational to the early church. You find Christian churches in Corinth, Galatia, Philippi, and Rome, to the point that even the skeptic James, the brother of Jesus, was converted to Christianity. Mark chapter 3 verse 21, Galatians 1 verse 19. The gospel accounts show that the disciples were surprised by the resurrection. They were not expecting it. They had to be convinced. This is important as it shows they were not gullible fools. In the end, they were all willing even to die for this truth. My friends, as we have this time to take a break, to take a moment to take 5, why not consider that there is some truth that we have not been considering, but it needs our attention. And that is, despite the crisis that we are facing, even with the COVID-19, despite living in a world in turmoil, God is in control. He is our refuge in times like these, and Jesus is worthy of our consideration. Oh, by the way, did I tell you that Lee Strobel finally became a Christian? Anyway, thank you for joining us today on Take 5. God bless you. Take 5 is a show produced by the Chisipiti Church, a fountain of love, and it is made possible by support from many partners. If you wish to follow more of our studies on these and many other subjects, please connect with us on the Chisipiti Seventh-day Adventist Church on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Like our platforms and share with us your comments. We also have our plug-in team ready to pray with you and encourage you through life's challenges. So please connect with us and would love to pray with you. We can't wait to hear from you. And remember, when life seems to drown you, just take a moment, take a break, and take 5 to reflect. God bless you.